work its way farther off to the east. So it may open us up later on this evening for decaying storms to make their way in our direction. So a few of us could see a slightly better chance for a shower or thunderstorm. I think the best chances for rain and storms here today, generally south and east of the city of Memphis, but still a chance nonetheless. I think even here in the city, there could still be a couple of downpours. By midnight, showers and storms for the most part fading away, but not completely gone until early tomorrow morning as we drop back into the middle 70s starting off early on Friday morning. A few spotty downpours here or there for your Friday. A mixture of clouds and sunshine yet again to the mid-90s we go. There's an approaching boundary that could kick up a scattered batch of rain and storms by early Saturday morning across portions of the Missouri Boot Hill, western areas of Kentucky and northwest Tennessee. If you're not seeing that, though, which I think more sections of the coverage area will see more scattered activity redeveloping during the course of the day on Saturday. A few isolated showers and thunderstorms by lunchtime. I think the chances for rain do start to build a little higher as we head towards the end of the day. But all the while still featuring highs in the mid-90s. Average high this time of the year is 91. So we'll get closer to that number as we head towards Sunday, Monday, and early next week. And that is by way of a change up in the pattern. Remember, we've got that ridge of high pressure basically sitting on top of us right now. Feels like temperatures still running around 105 or so between now and Saturday, and then we'll start to see the feels like temperatures coming down a couple of extra notches as the actual air temperatures come down. But we still got plenty of humidity out across the area as the ridge builds farther off to the east, moving into the Atlantic, and we start to see a couple of small disturbances on the backside of that ridge. We start to see some better chances for some rain and storms coming in our direction. Out in the tropics, no development expected here in the next 7 days or so after we had Andrea, which formed briefly in the north central Atlantic, fading away. And again, this remnant circulation with that now pushing past the Azores in the central Atlantic. So for the next couple of days back here at home, will we see any downpours that will be tropical-esque? Well, obviously the humidity levels are pretty stout at this point. So any downpours that we do get could be quite torrential as they roll through here. But notice again, Saturday, a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity tending to be along and north of I-40, fading away, and then a few more scattered activity, showers and storms during the afternoon and evening hours. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, as well as the frontal boundary starts to sag a little farther down to the south. Hopefully, once that front moves farther down to the south, it will keep our chances for rain a little bit more tempered. They'll take us into Friday evening. Of course, what's Friday? That's 4th of July, next Friday. And if this is to be believed, there's a chance for a few showers and storms. The question mark is where exactly will those showers and thunderstorms be able to erupt. All the while, temperatures will be running closer to average for this time of the year. So here's a look at our extended forecast, still underneath the vestiges of that ridge of high pressure. So that's going to keep our temperatures a bit higher than average in the mid-90s. 20 to 30% chance for a shower or thunderstorm as we head towards the next couple of days. I think 30 and 40% rain chances emerge as we head towards Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And yeah, maybe a slightly better chance overnight Monday to Tuesday as a front starts to move into our area. The question mark about Wednesday is how far south does the front get? If the front gets far enough south, we may be able to drop the rain chances a little bit lower, but there's still at least a chance for a few scattered downpours. Again, will be about 30% opportunities heading into late next week. Again, next Friday, 92 with a chance for a shower or thunderstorm still in play for the 4th of July. And I think as we head towards the next couple of days, yeah, we'll have the highs in the low and mid-90s, but look at the overnight lows. There's a dip in the temperatures here. That means that finally we get this batch of moisture that's been sitting on top of us for probably the last two and a half weeks or so to finally start to scour out just a little bit, just enough to at least bring down the humidity levels a couple of extra notches. With that being said, that will help us out on the opportunities for showers and storms. The coverage may go down a little bit. And there's some indications that by the time we head towards the end of next weekend and the following week, that we could be having another ridge of high pressure building once again across the southern United States, but we may not be directly underneath the ridge. We might be on the edge of the ridge, and that may put us in the ring of fire, and that may bring us into a better chance for some rain and storms. Still hot if you're not seeing showers and storms, but maybe a better chance for rain and storms comparatively to what we've seen as of late.
Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. You know, the kids are out for school. You got summer season upon us, and why not take a trip somewhere? And one of the most affordable ways is perhaps going camping around your area, or maybe taking a road trip and going camping. It has become more popular than ever. In fact, 1 of 4 leisure trips out there now includes camping. Let's talk more about this idea of camping across our region and really across the country right now. I'm joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Senior Vice President of Marketing for Kampgrounds of America, KOA, Diane Eichler, joining us on the Digital Desk to talk about camping. So, Diane, let's talk about this. It feels like a resurgence of camping out there across the country, but for me and my family, we've always enjoyed camping. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So tell me about this this popularity that we are seeing in camping all across the country.
Yeah, camping has always historically been a really great summer activity, but over the last 5 or 6 years, we have welcomed over 11 million new campers to camping. So we at KOA are super excited to open up our peak season and welcome all of our campers, old and new, out into the great outdoors again this year.
Yeah, so tell me more about it, because I saw this stat where it said 1 in 4 of those trips, you know, people pick business or pleasure or leisure, and 1 of 4 of those leisure trips involve camping in some form or fashion. And we're talking about all kinds of camping, the RV type or the tents, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, you know, camping has grown. We have a lot of different accommodations that we offer at KOA. And to your point, we've got so many different demographics that are coming out to camp. It can be retirees, it can be Gen Zs who are historically traveling with their larger friend groups. We've got millennial families who are bringing kiddos in tows. We welcome pets. 50% of our campers camp with pets. So we have a really great curated Camp Canine program that welcomes our furry family members as well. And we have accommodations for all types of campers. If you're traveling in an RV, we've got great pull-through sites that have hookups and patios. We've got opportunities for tent campers. We've got glamping opportunities, which is one of my favorite ways to camp with our deluxe cabin product. You can come in, pack a suitcase, you don't need a lot of gear, and walk into a cabin that has a couple of bedrooms, a bathroom, a kitchenette, and it's like having a hotel room in the great outdoors. So lots of different types of campers and lots of different accommodations that are available for our campers out in our great KOA system.
That sounds great. I mean, you got all kinds of different types of camping, from the very serious, I would say, to some that are glamping, as you mentioned. I'm curious about that, to try and convince my wife. I'm an Eagle Scout, so I'm used to camping in the outdoors. So is my son. But to do a glamping, describe that once again. Is that probably isn't available at every KOA campground out there, but certainly, in fact, there's one near our area here in Marion, Arkansas. But I'm curious about the glamping, the cabin type feels. Tell me more.
Yeah, well, glamping has actually taken off in the last couple years. And so we have, as part of our glamping product, we've got deluxe cabins. At certain other campgrounds, we'll have yurts and tree houses and silos and what we consider unique accommodations. So it's not just a one-stop shop of one type of product, but there's lots of different variety, and each one of those unique glamping opportunities is often signature to space and place. So what you're going to have in potentially Tennessee might be very different than what you would find at one of our campgrounds in California. So that's one of the great things about KOA, is that none of them are the same. We're all unique, and we all have different signature opportunities at each campground.
Fantastic, Diane. Finally, if someone wants to maybe kind of look at this as perhaps a summer vacation for the family, where can they go online to do that?
Of course, visit us at KOA.com. And while you're there, I encourage everyone to hop on over to our blog. We've got lots of tips and tricks, tons of recipes, and lots of guides for you to help you get outdoors this summer in a really hassle-free and fun way.
That sounds great. Diane Eichler, we appreciate you coming on the Digital Desk talking about the enjoyment and popularity of camping all across America. Thanks so very much. Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. The proposed change to Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. A proposed change to a Medicare policy could affect access to a clinically and cost-effective form of skin cancer treatment used by more than 100,000 seniors nationwide. Let's bring in a couple of gentlemen to talk more about this issue. I'm joined now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Matthew Bessette, a former Assistant Secretary for Legislation at the Department of Health and Human Services, and Dr. Kenneth Milani joining me on the Digital Desk. Gentlemen, good morning to you. So tell me a little bit about this proposed change to Medicare and how it could affect these patients with skin cancer.
So CMS has two proposals sitting out there right now. One is dealing with coverage and the other one is dealing with coding and payment. And should they enact either one of these policies, it'll have a dramatic effect on access to a therapy that's the most highly effective therapy and the most widely used therapy that's not surgically done. It's actually a radiation therapy called image-guided superficial radiation therapy. And the problem with that is that in people who are Medicare age, 65 and over, that's where most of the skin cancers occur. But even more importantly, there's a group of patients within that who have conditions that make them not good candidates for surgical therapies. So the people with diabetes, people who have the predilection toward forming keloids or scars when they're cut, patients who have blood thinners that they're taking, and or patients who have lesions on the eyelids, the ears, the nose, and the lips. Those people are not good candidates for surgery and could get complications if you do get surgery. But in addition, there's a large group of people who just don't want surgery and they like an option instead of surgery. They're afraid of surgery or afraid of anesthesia. So if this is enacted and you get rid of this alternative, these patients would be forced into one of three decisions: either get surgery, which could be risky, get a higher cost or less effective therapy, which is risky, or get no therapy at all, which is the most highly risky thing to do because it could actually lead to death. So that's very problematic for the Medicare population.
So let me ask you this, because I know that a number of years ago, the president talked about implementing a policy called Right to Try. Does that impact this?
Well, it doesn't impact this, but this policy goes against everything that the president has said on protecting Medicare for the last decade, including the 3 years that I served in his cabinet. This is, to be very clear, this is not the president's policy, nor is it the policy of Secretary Kennedy, nor is it the policy of Dr. Oz at CMS. This is a bureaucratic effort that began in the last administration. And there are not many policies from the last administration that have continued forward, but sadly, this one, the process has failed, and it's a situation where organized medicine and their wants has come in front of the needs of patients. And that's why we feel a need to let the public know that this is being considered.
What can people do that watching this that would like to see some change, or at least let them know that they want to keep this this idea, or at least this option, available for treatment?
We would invite everyone to join us at patienceact.org. When you go on the website, it will show you which insurers are putting forward these proposals, and it gives you the ability to send in comment letters in what they call an open comment period that ends at the end of this month. You also have the ability to email the White House, email your member of Congress, and email HHS and CMS directly to let them know that these policy changes are not in the best interest of anyone.
So are people in the Senate, are people in the House of Representatives discussing this plan? Tell me exactly where this is.
This is in a proposal stage that will close at the end of this month. And there are a number of legislators, it's a bipartisan issue on both sides of the aisle, that have voiced their concerns to the White House, have voiced their concerns to Secretary Kennedy. And there is a groundswell of movement to say, why on earth are we doing this? I have worked in that building for a number of years, and I have not seen a policy that made so little sense make it to this point.
Okay, so just to recap here, let's talk about the issue. What's it called? And if someone wants to get on the phone or write an email, how do they do it?
Well, going to patienceact.org would be the first step, and that allows you to communicate with everyone who's involved with this process. Tens of thousands of letters have gone into all the insurers that put forward this proposal. And there is just a groundswell of anger and frustration because 25,000 seniors got this procedure last year. And there are a number that are going through it now that are concerned that at the end of the month, they might not have coverage mid-treatment. And there is no reason. There is no policy reason to do this. Not only does it not save Medicare money, but a study that came out just this week showed it would cost the government between $1 billion and $2.5 billion over 10 years. This is in no one's best interest.
All right, gentlemen. Well, listen, we appreciate your time here. Matthew Bessette and Kenneth Milani, thanks for coming on the Digital Desk, explaining this for all of our viewers. We appreciate it.
Speaking with Andrew. Andrew.
Good morning, everyone. It's Andrew Douglas in Memphis. How are you?
Good morning, Andrew.
Good deal, good deal. You guys sound great. We got about 40 seconds before we come to you. Just wanted to say hello.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Talk to you in a second.
This one's, you need?
Are you going in there?
It's not cold.
Can you close the door?
Yeah, it's cold.
Thanks.
Cold. Yeah. Ice cold.
Ice
Beer. Beer. What's better than being cold?
You know.
Ice cold.
I didn't even get to tell them about me coming down south and learning about soul food and comfort food and meat and threes. I was going to go into the, you need to be the meat and 2 vegetables. But
You can have meat.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I am joined on the Digital Desk with several people here, and this is about type 2 diabetes. There is a husband and wife musical out there that has a group of folks that are more than just a musical duo. They are a part of a campaign to let people know about type 2 diabetes, its awareness, and the best treatment out there. So I am joined right now by 2 people, actually 3 people. We have on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, Michael and Tanya Trotter, husband and wife vocalists from the War and Treaty musical, and also Dr. Craig Wieram. He is a board-certified endocrinologist. All of them are on the Digital Desk, and I want to begin with Michael and Tanya this morning. And first off, tell me about your journey here. Tell me what you guys do in the musical. I know that the musical has come here to the Memphis and Mid-South area before. Very popular. Congratulations on your success. But more specifically about this campaign with type 2 diabetes and how you deal with it in your everyday life. Good morning.
Well, good morning,
How are
Andrew.
you?
Thank you so much for having us. In 2011, I was diagnosed with diabetes, and it is a disease that is well known in our family. It's taken a lot of us out. And when I got this diagnosis, I felt hopeless and helpless until Ozempic was introduced into my life. And since then, I've been on Ozempic, and I have seen my A1C numbers drop in a real way. On top of that, some things that I've done to impact my journey is I've changed my diet, my way of eating, and I've changed my way of living. I move more. I do more exercise on the stage with Tanya. And so with this trifecta, I've been able to see real results, and I've been able to notice that in this journey, I've also lost some weight. I can see it in myself.
Let me ask you something, and maybe this is to your all's producer, but your audio is extremely low. So if the producer can hear me, please elevate that audio while we talk. Tanya, over to you. How do you support Michael on this journey and on this campaign?
Well, we're a touring duo, so we travel with our band on our tour bus. And we have, as you said, been to Memphis. We love Memphis. So we make different choices. You know, we were just saying earlier that, you know, instead of us loading up on certain starches, you know, we've tried to lean things out. Michael loves salads. You know, he loves meats and things like that. So we've kind of really been dealing with that and changing the diet up in that way. But when there are sugar cravings and things like that, which is normal, we try to supplement that with certain kinds of fruits. So the support is if you see him really having a hard time, because it's not always easy when you do have those sugar cravings, you make sure that he has something there so that he doesn't have to make a decision that is a bad choice for that moment. And the support comes in just making sure that we're prepared while we're on the road, that we are a step ahead. So we go grocery shopping and we stock the bus up before we hit the road instead of stopping at gas stations like we used to do in our tour bus. So we prepare. You know, our daughter is our tour manager. She's also one of our day-to-day managers, and she makes sure she gets a list of all the healthy snacks that he wants. And so in the middle of the night when his sugar's dropping, he'll have those snacks instead of us having to stop at a gas station and get a bag of chips. So those are the little things that we've done that help support not just Michael, but the whole team. Because if he sees someone else eating unhealthy, that's a trigger sometimes. And so we all just make the decision to try to eat our best.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, that's great advice right there. Plan ahead, have something with you, bring something with you. My wife and I, we always do that as well. Let me ask Dr. Wirum, can you talk a little bit more, or at least talk about type 2 diabetes management? And, you know, I think Tanya was really kind of explaining it right there, you know, just planning ahead with snacks and that sort of thing. What else in terms of managing that and how effective it can be?
So thank you. First of all, privileged to be here with Michael and Tanya, and I am so thankful to them for helping us raise awareness about type 2 diabetes management. Michael detailed very well the diet and the exercise component. In our clinic, we obviously emphasize that, but also medication. We mentioned Ozempic, which has been well proven in terms of helping people lower blood sugar. It also has some risk associated with it, mostly gastrointestinal in terms of side effects, but there were rare thyroid cancer tumors in rodents. Those were not seen in humans. But it's nice to know that obviously contact your healthcare provider or Ozempic.com if you have more questions about that. But as far as treating type 2 diabetes, we are in a wonderful place right now. We've had a class of drugs called GLP-1 receptor agonists, of which Ozempic is one, that's not only proven to lower blood sugar, number one, and lower A1C and treat diabetes. It also has been proven to decrease heart attack, strokes, and death in people that have diabetes and cardiovascular disease. And number three, it was most recently FDA approved to decrease the decline in kidney function, the progression to dialysis, and cardiovascular death in patients who have chronic kidney disease. And as you and your viewers probably know, diabetes is the #1 cause of kidney disease in the United States.
I want to go back over to Michael and Tanya. And final thoughts for our audience. We have thousands of people who watch us each and every morning. And I know that type 2 diabetes is something that people struggle with here in Memphis and the Mid-South. Any words of advice for people who are listening right now?
Yes, I'm actually here just as an encourager to understand that this diagnosis, when we get it, it is not the end of it. I think that we give up too soon. And so there is a partner out there that can help manage this disease. And that's what Ozempic is doing. My Ozempic journey is strictly about letting people know that it's not over for us. We're fighting back, and we're fighting in a real way. And I'm winning. And so I just want to emphasize that point.
Okay, Michael, Tanya, Craig, I appreciate your time here on the Digital Desk. Thank you so much for spending time with us here and encouraging others to take some of your advice. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Andrew.
Okay, thank you. Another live look from our High Five camera here as we go to break. Nice shot downtown. It is currently 85 degrees at 9:38. Let's talk about your forecast in 1 minute. That was a pain in the ass.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Thursday, which will feature a mixture of clouds and sunshine. A slightly better chance of an afternoon cooling shower or thunderstorm. Many of you, though, will likely stay dry yet again. A mixture of clouds and sunshine will still be able to push our temperatures up into the mid-90s. But when you factor in the humidity levels, feels like temperatures, closer to about 105 here as we go through the course of the afternoon. And that'll be a common trait in the forecast, likely the next couple of days. Decaying showers and thunderstorms across northeastern Mississippi, northwest Alabama, and middle Tennessee will still be able to shoot off an outflow boundary. That outflow boundary may be able to kick off a few more scattered downpours near into the south of the I-40 corridor as we head towards the afternoon and early evening hours. But we're right on the edge of this ridge of high pressure that is continuing to work its way farther off to the east. So it may open us up later on this evening for decaying storms to make their way in our direction. So a few of us could see a slightly better chance for a shower or thunderstorm. I think the best chances for rain and storms here today, generally south and east of the city of Memphis, but still a chance nonetheless. I think even here in the city, there could still be a couple of downpours. By midnight, showers and storms for the most part fading away, but not completely gone until early tomorrow morning as we drop back into the middle 70s starting off early on Friday morning. A few spotty downpours here or there for your Friday. A mixture of clouds and sunshine yet again to the mid-90s we go. There's an approaching boundary that could kick up a scattered batch of rain and storms by early Saturday morning across portions of the Missouri Boot Hill, western areas of Kentucky and northwest Tennessee. If you're not seeing that, though, which I think more sections of the coverage area will see more scattered activity redeveloping during the course of the day on Saturday. A few isolated showers and thunderstorms by lunchtime. And I think the chances for rain do start to build a little higher as we head towards the end of the day. But all the while still featuring highs in the mid-90s. Average high this time of the year is 91. So we'll get closer to that number as we head towards Sunday, Monday, and early next week. And that is by way of a change up in the pattern. Remember, we've got that ridge of high pressure basically sitting on top of us right now. Feels like temperatures still running around 105 or so between now and Saturday, and then we'll start to see the feels like temperatures coming down a couple of extra notches as the actual air temperatures come down. But we still got plenty of humidity out across the area as the ridge builds farther off to the east, moving into the Atlantic, and we start to see a couple of small disturbances on the backside of that ridge. We start to see some better chances for some rain and storms coming in our direction. Out in the tropics, no development expected here in the next 7 days or so after we had Andrea, which formed briefly in the north central Atlantic, fading away. And again, this remnant circulation with that now pushing past the Azores in the central Atlantic. So for the next couple of days back here at home, will we see any downpours that will be tropical-esque? Well, obviously the humidity levels are pretty stout at this point. So any downpours that we do get could be quite torrential as they roll through here. But notice again, Saturday, a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity tending to be along and north of I-40, fading away, and then a few more scattered activity, showers and storms during the afternoon and evening hours. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, as well as the frontal boundary starts to sag a little farther down to the south. Hopefully, once that front moves farther down to the south, it will keep our chances for rain a little bit more tempered. They'll take us into Friday evening. Of course, what's Friday? That's 4th of July, next Friday. And if this is to be believed, there's a chance for a few showers and storms. The question mark is where exactly will those showers and thunderstorms be able to erupt. All the while, temperatures will be running closer to average for this time of the year. So here's a look at our extended forecast, still underneath the vestiges of that ridge of high pressure. So that's going to keep our temperatures a bit higher than average in the mid-90s. 20 to 30% chance for a shower or thunderstorm as we head towards the next couple of days. I think 30 and 40% rain chances emerge as we head towards Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And yeah, maybe a slightly better chance overnight Monday and Tuesday as a front starts to move into our area. And the question mark about Wednesday is how far south does the front get? If the front gets far enough south, we may be able to drop the rain chances a little bit lower, but there's still at least a chance for a few scattered downpours. Again, will be about 30% opportunities heading into late next week. Again, next Friday, 92 with a chance for a shower or thunderstorm still in play for the 4th of July. And I think as we head towards the next couple of days, yeah, we'll have the highs in the low and mid 90s, but look at the overnight lows. There's a dip in the temperatures here. That means that finally we get this batch of moisture that's been sitting on top of us for probably the last 2.5 weeks or so to finally start to scour out just a little bit, just enough to at least bring down the humidity levels a couple of extra notches. With that being said, that will help us out on the opportunities for showers and storms. The coverage may go down a little bit. And there's some indications that by the time we head towards the end of next weekend and the following week, that we could be having another ridge of high pressure building once again across the southern United States, but we may not be directly underneath the ridge. We might be on the edge of the ridge, and that may put us in the ring of fire, and that may bring us into a better chance for some rain and storms. Still hot if you're not seeing showers and storms, but maybe a better chance for rain and storms comparatively to what we've seen as of late.
Kelly, are you cooking out there or what? Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. I'm with you on that. One, two, 1, 2. Check, check. Hello, hello. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. The number of cervical cancer cases have dropped over the last 30 years or so, but the number of new cases for women between the ages of 30 and 44 have jumped up. And now there are new screening guidelines for cervical cancer. Let's bring in someone to talk more about this. I'm joined right now by Dr. Marina Santa Cruz. She is an OBGYN at Regional One. She's also an assistant professor at University of Tennessee Health Science Center to talk more about these issues here on the digital desk. So, Doctor, good morning to you. Tell us more about these new guidelines for cervical cancer and the preventative steps that are out there. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, Andrew. I'm excited to be here. Yes, as you just mentioned, the U.S. Preventive Service Task Force has give us a new guidelines for the recommendations of cervical cancer screening. So what they're trying to do right now is to make sure that we understand that there is different strategies to help our community to prevent this cancer, this type of cancer. So the first, the people who are between 21 to 29 years old, they are okay to do every 3 years a cervical pap. Okay, that's a type of test where the physician or your primary care physician will take care of some cells, will collect some cells from the cervix, and we will see if there is some abnormalities there. The next strategy is for the people that you were mentioned, the patients who are in higher risk of developing cervical cancer between the age of 30 to 65. And they're particularly asking to recommend to use the HPV test, where we test for the virus that it causes cervical cancer. They also recommend against doing tests for screening for cervical cancer before the age of 21, and also to stop at the age of 65 if the patient has been regularly screened for the last 10 years and it has been normal screening. Or patients that they have at any age who had hysterectomy for benign causes.
So let me ask you something. I noticed that the cervical cancer cases have dropped overall over the last 30 years, but that one specific area of women between 30 and 44, they've jumped up. Is there any particular reason why that is the case?
So the study has shown that, fortunately, the cancer has decreased by 50%. However, still, the average of diagnosis is 50 years old. So it's still, so we can diagnose, and those people at that age is where the HPV has been affecting those cells for longer. Okay, so people who has not been screened, there's no way of doctors to know if they are developing these pre-malignant cells that are the ones that we're able to find when we do the test. So people in general are the people who are not being screened who are in risk of having the cervical cancer. So if they get infected on their 20s and they have been affected with the HPV for so long, then they develop the cancer between the ages that you mentioned, between 30 to 45 years old.
So we understand that there is a discussion of new preventative steps out there when it comes to cervical cancer. Can you talk about those for us?
Yes, of course. So we have primary prevention, that will be the HPV vaccine. That's a vaccine that is given in children's, boys and girls, and it can be started as early as 9 years old. And then it can go up to 45 years old depending on each patient. But yes, that's the first tool that we have to prevent cervical cancer. And the second one will be the screening test. So we have two types of screening tests, as I said, the pap smear test, and we have the HPV test.
Is there something that women can do to reduce their risk of cervical cancer?
Yes, so screening is go to the doctor. Also, look for some early symptoms. When cervical cancer is, when the patient have, unfortunately, cervical cancer, at the beginning, early stages, they don't have symptoms. But then when it's more advanced, they can have a bleeding, abnormal vaginal bleeding, or what we sometimes after sex. So we call it postcoital bleeding. It's kind of like one of the red flags for us. Also pelvic pain and watery discharge.
Okay, and what would you like people to know? We have thousands of people who watch us each and every morning here on the Digital Desk. What would you like people to know about cervical cancer, preventative steps, and what people can do to reduce their risk?
Yeah, so first of all, I will encourage our community to establish a communication with your doctor, right? We know that going to see a doctor regularly to check up not only the cervical cancer, but to maintain your health is important. So during those visits, it's important to have the conversation with the physician, and for the physician also to also have the opportunity to educate the patients about these preventive options that we have, like the vaccine and the test for HPV or cytology or pap smear, in order to diagnose and find those abnormal cells, those pre-malignant cells, before the cervical cancer appear. So that's my main recommendation, to see your doctor and get tested.
Okay, Dr. Marina Santa Cruz, we appreciate your time here on the Digital Desk. Thanks for informing us about preventative steps there to reduce our risk of cervical cancer. We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I want to tell you about a free Summer Bridge Academy for Memphis middle and high school students. This is going to be a 3-week-long program where kids, middle and high school kids, can brush up and boost their academic skills, their confidence. Again, this is for rising 8th, 9th, and 10th graders in the city of Memphis. I want to bring in someone that is a part of the organization doing this. I'm joined now by Courtney Richardson. He is with the Peer Power Foundation to talk about this Bridge Summer Camp. And Courtney, good morning to you. Tell me about the program and how it's going to work.
Well, good morning. Thank you for having us on this morning. So we have a Summer Bridge program, and it's to do exactly what the name says. In the summertime, it is important for students to have an academic bridge from the end of school year to the beginning of the school year. And so we're deploying our college students who are success coaches to create a fun learning environment for young people who are uprising 8th through 10th grade students, so that when they get to the classroom, here's what I told the team. When they get to their class the first week of school, we want their teachers to say, what did you do this summer? Because you are on par, or you are mastering the content that you need to master for your grade level.
That sounds great. I love that idea. And I know there's going to be a lot of parents and teachers that love the idea as well. So how does someone get set up and sign up for this program? Where is it? All those details.
So the program is going to be at Mace High School on Poplar Avenue. We want to give a shout out to that executive director over there, Mr. Gaston, for hosting this camp. And to sign up, families and students can go to peerpowerfoundation.org. Notice I said parents and students, parents and families, because sometimes it is the students who say, I am going to Peer Powers Camp, because what we like to say is, hey, if the students don't enjoy it, or if the students don't advertise for it, and they are the target audience, then we need to do some work. But we always have students who are interested. So you can go to peerpowerfoundation.org to sign up, or any of our social media sites and sign up as well.
Okay, so take me through. Is this the first year? Take me through like what it's going to be like. It's Monday through Thursday, I understand, and it's from 9 to 3. Is it just like class? Is it something different? Explain.
So it's going to be Monday through Thursday. We're going to have level 4 and level 5 teachers providing instruction, and our highly trained and highly skilled success coaches, which are college students, are going to be there to help support or fill in the gap for those students who may need a little extra support. But this is also going to be filled with project-based learning. Our partners over at University Schools Innovative School District is a project-based learning school, and that is a practice that allows for students to do projects that are aligned with content, with curriculum, and with standards. So students are going to come away with some projects, and it's going to be fun, which is a part of Peer Power's model. You have our college students who are close in age with them, who are providing a fun learning environment. In fact, our college students are working in the month of June to create lessons and to create activities that would allow for students not just to sit in classroom and have boring lessons, but to have engaging lessons that would help them move academically. And so it's going to be fun. There will be some field trips. There are going to be incentives as well. There will also be other high school students who will be providing some support to their peers as well, which is why we are Peer Power. We believe in the power of the peer, not just the pressure that peers create. We believe that peers have the power to help peers succeed.
So this is going to be Monday through Thursday, July 7th it begins. This is right after the 4th of July weekend, July 7th through the 24th at MACE, the Memphis Academy of Science and Engineering. I understand registration close later this month. Again, give us the details so people can sign up. We know it's already free, but give us the details again so people know where to sign up.
Okay, so registration will close later at the end of the month if it lasts that long. We are seeing much interest in this camp. But you can go to peerpowerfoundation.org to sign up for your student, or you can sign up to be a part of our Summer Bridge program. That's Monday through Thursday. It's going to be happening at Mace High School. They're on Poplar Avenue, and we look forward to serving you. If you have any questions, you can email programs@peerpowerfoundation.org, and one of my amazing team members will get with you to give you details that you need.
Courtney, one more thing. How many people are you expecting? How many students are you expecting this year?
So we're expecting about 125 students to be a part of this amazing opportunity. And from my understanding, we're well over halfway there. And that number is growing.
Okay, Courtney Richardson, the Peer Power Foundation, talking about a free Summer Bridge Academy for Memphis middle and high school students next month. Registration closes on Friday, June 27th. We appreciate your time, Courtney. Thank you for all that you're doing to help out the students this summer.
Thank you for having me. Looking forward to coming back to let you see the results of the Summer Bridge program.
I look. Joe, good morning. Can you hear me?
Hey, I gotcha.
Hey, it's Andrew Douglas in Memphis. How you doing, man?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, good. It looks great where you are. We're about 40 seconds away. Just wanted to say hello.
Sounds good. And I'm going to be driving through road trip next week as I'm traveling for the 4th of July. Got to get my Rockwell fixed, man.
On. Make sure the AC's on. That's all I'm saying. It's really hot now, but you're going to have some great
Texarkana,
barbecue.
Texas, so I got the AC down.
Nice. Okay, talk to you in a sec. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Families are making plans already for, summer travel season. I mean, there are times where we just need to get out of town, okay? We don't care how much it costs, but we should care how much it costs. And we want to maximize our dollars for a great road trip. And that seems to be what a lot of families are doing. They're choosing cars over planes because, hey, look, it's more affordable. And if you plan ahead and you take the right small steps, it can make a huge, huge difference. So on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, I want to bring in my next guest here, Joe Saul of CHI. He is joining us. He is someone who is a personal finance expert to talk about ways that we can maximize our travel dollars for our road trip this summer. Joe, good morning to you. So first off, let's talk a little bit about those summer road trips, why people are taking them, and how to best maximize our dollar. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. We're all seeing it in our wallet, right? Since the pandemic, a recent national study showed that prices are up about 15% when it comes to travel. Restaurants alone, if you've been in any local restaurant, you already know what I'm talking about. Restaurants up 30%. So this year, it looks like, by the way, that airline prices are flat. But if you remember before the pandemic, a lot of the time we didn't have to pay extra to pick the seat we're sitting in. We didn't have to pay extra for baggage fees. Across the board now for not sitting basic economy really add up, whether we're going alone or with a family. So I think that's why this year a lot of families are like, what's in my backyard, or how do I hit the road to maybe have some comfortable travel and see some of Americana that I hadn't seen before?
Yeah, I love it. Those road trips can be a lot of fun with the whole family piled in. So let's talk about ways to make sure we don't overspend. And I know a lot of that has to deal with kind of planning ahead, right, Joe?
Oh, sure. And you know what? I'll give you some hacks on both sides. First of all, on planning. I don't like over planning. Number one, I'm a planner by nature as a finance guy, right? In my podcast, Stacking Benjamins, we talk about planning. But when you overplan, you suck all the fun out of vacation. We're not the Griswolds. We don't want to do that. So I got this 2-thing rule. We're going to plan a couple things, and I'll give you a couple websites. Love TripAdvisor. If I'm going into that restaurant with restaurant prices up, I want to make sure it's worth it. So we'll find someplace quirky. I get to look at the menu ahead of time so my family knows what they're getting into. And you know what? TripAdvisor is a place where locals have talked about the restaurant. So I can go in and I can read the reviews ahead of time to make restaurants a good experience if I'm going. But also, if I'm on the road trip, I can pack snacks and I can maybe cook. I'm in this beautiful metro park here. If we just look around Memphis and we're going to hopefully be out in the breeze and the temperature stays under 100 degrees, we could be out in the local park that doesn't get as much love as it could. And I'm grilling out, which is going to be a fantastic time. I also there's a website called Viator or Viator, Viator.com. A lot of local tours if you're traveling this year. So I love the haunted tours. I like being a little bit scared. Number 2, I like food tours. I love history tours of these little towns around America. Those are so fun. They often cost a lot less money. So that's on that planning side. But there's another planning side people forget. And as a finance guy, I think this is a big one, which is I don't want to get into credit card debt. And I don't want to create these horrible experiences when I get home. I want to be refreshed and ready to go. So I want it to fit the budget. But then if I'm ready to pay cash, everybody asks me about these rewards programs. I then want to take advantage of the reward program because if I add up points, and these points can add up fairly quickly, and I pay them off right away, I take that cash cushion and I pay it off right after I swipe the card, then I'm not getting into credit card debt and I'm accumulating points, which makes the trip less expensive and also makes the next one less expensive.
You and I are on the same wavelength on this, Joe. I just took a trip not too long ago, and I checked out TripAdvisor and actually had some trips with Viator. So great stuff. I love it. That you're right on point. Let's continue and talk about maybe some tips for gas, hotels, that sort of thing, because those can add up quickly, especially the prices of hotels these days. I don't know about you, but it just feels like hotels have skyrocketed.
If you're traveling this holiday weekend, you don't want to wait because there's a lot of competition. But let's give people some advice for other times. If you're traveling off season, sometimes waiting till the last minute on the hotel when hotels aren't full, they're just trying to get that occupancy rate up. So 4th of July weekend, hear me clearly, if you're staying at a hotel, you want to book now. But off-season travel, maybe waiting is going to save you some dollars. You know what I like too, if we're traveling with the family and with the restaurant price up, this is where Airbnb or Vrbo comes in. Airbnb and Vrbo doesn't necessarily spend you money on the surface, but if I can cook a meal at home after going to the local grocery store on the road trip, everybody's happy. We play some games while we're at the Airbnb. Also, some of these places are pretty quirky and working good memories. I got this friend, Whitney Hansen, who's in Idaho. Shout out to Whitney. Whitney created a house that looks like a flower pot. Like imagine taking your family and staying in a flower pot. We stayed on the coast of Lake Michigan one time in this boat in a marina, the little town called Saugatuck. My family, my kids still talk about that trip. So looking at Vrbo, looking at Airbnb can really not just save money, but can also create some fun memories for the family. Next thing too, by the way, again, I'm standing in this park. Look at parks. Look at, national parks get so much recognition. State and local parks, not nearly as much. This park that I'm in right now, there's a petting farm where my kids petted animals. It costs nothing more. I took a hike here one time and had bird seed and birds eating right out of my hand, like phenomenal fun.
I love it. I love it. What else? What other kind of tools or programs can we touch on before we let you go, Joe? This is all very effective. We have thousands of people who watch us each and every morning.
Well, I got to tell you, taking care of that vehicle, if we're doing the road trip, which I love, as you can tell, I do a lot of road trips in the Saul Sehy family, taking care of really important. So if you've got the app on your phone, we talked about those two apps earlier, the Vitor app and the TripAdvisor, your car manufacturer, whether it's GM, one of the other manufacturers, they all have an app and you can look at the health of your car, properly inflating your tires, making sure you're ready for the scheduled maintenance. Your biggest expense if you don't own a house, you know what the number 2 expense is? That car, and you want to have a lot of road trips. So a great website I'll leave people with is experience.gm.com. You'll which has no annual fee and is one of those cards I talked about with point programs, can help you a lot on accumulating points and saving some money on the trip, and also other GM maintenance, the GM reward. There's experience.gm.com is another great tool to have in your tool belt.
Okay, Joe Saul Sehy, we appreciate your time here. Great advice, great tips for that great summer vacation for us all. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope everybody has a phenomenal Independence Day.
Yes, absolutely. Same to you. Okay, another live look from our High Five cameras. We go to break here. We're going to be talking about our forecast in 1 minute. Already 86 degrees at 10:09. We'll see you in 60 seconds.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Thursday, which will feature a mixture of clouds and sunshine. A slightly better chance of an afternoon cooling shower or thunderstorm. Many of you, though, will likely stay dry yet again. A mixture of clouds and sunshine will still be able to push our temperatures up into the mid-90s. But when you factor in the humidity levels, feels like temperatures, closer to about 105 here as we go through the course of the afternoon. And that'll be a common trait in the forecast, likely the next couple of days. Decaying showers and thunderstorms across northeastern Mississippi, northwest Alabama, and middle Tennessee. Tennessee will still be able to shoot off an outflow boundary. That outflow boundary may be able to kick off a few more scattered downpours near into the south of the I-40 corridor as we head towards the afternoon and early evening hours. But we're right on the edge of this ridge of high pressure that is continuing to work its way farther off to the east. So it may open us up later on this evening for decaying storms to make their way in our direction. So a few of us could see a slightly better chance for a shower or thunderstorm. I think the best chances for rain and storms here today, generally south and east of the city of Memphis, but still a chance nonetheless. I think even here in the city, there could still be a couple of downpours. By midnight, showers and storms for the most part fading away, but not completely gone until early tomorrow morning as we drop back into the middle 70s starting off early on Friday morning. A few spotty downpours here or there for your Friday. A mixture of clouds and sunshine yet again to the mid-90s we go. There's an approaching boundary that could kick up a scattered batch of rain and storms by early Saturday morning across portions of the Missouri Boot Hill, western areas of Kentucky and northwest Tennessee. If you're not seeing that, though, which I think more sections of the coverage area will see more scattered activity redeveloping during the course of the day on Saturday. A few isolated showers and thunderstorms by lunchtime. I think the chances for rain do start to build a little higher as we head towards the end of the day. But all the while still featuring highs in the mid-90s. Average high this time of the year is 91. So we'll get closer to that number as we head towards Sunday, Monday, and early next week. And that is by way of a change up in the pattern. Remember, we've got that ridge of high pressure basically sitting on top of us right now. Feels like temperatures still running around 105 or so between now and Saturday, and then we'll start to see the feels like temperatures coming down a couple of extra notches as the actual air temperatures come down. But we still got plenty of humidity out across the area as the ridge builds farther off to the east, moving into the Atlantic, and we start to see a couple of small disturbances on the backside of that ridge. We start to see some better chances for some rain and storms coming in our direction. Out in the tropics, no development expected here in the next 7 days or so after we had Andrea, which formed briefly in the north central Atlantic, fading away. And again, this remnant circulation with that now pushing past the Azores in the central Atlantic. So for the next couple of days back here at home, will we see any downpours that will be tropical-esque? Well, obviously the humidity levels are pretty stout at this point. So any downpours that we do get could be quite torrential as they roll through here. But notice again, Saturday, a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity tending to be along and north of I-40, fading away, and then a few more scattered activity, showers and storms during the afternoon and evening hours. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, as well as the frontal boundary starts to sag a little farther down to the south. Hopefully, once that front moves farther down to the south, it will keep our chances for rain a little bit more tempered. They'll take us into Friday evening. Of course, what's Friday? That's 4th of July, next Friday. And if this is to be believed, there's a chance for a few showers and storms. The question mark is where exactly will those showers and thunderstorms be able to erupt. All the while, temperatures will be running closer to average for this time of the year. So here's a look at our extended forecast, still underneath the vestiges of that ridge of high pressure. So that's going to keep our temperatures a bit higher than average in the mid-90s. 20 to 30% chance for a shower or thunderstorm as we head towards the next couple of days. I think 30 and 40% rain chances emerge as we head towards Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And yeah, maybe a slightly better chance overnight Monday to Tuesday as a front starts to move into our area. The question mark about Wednesday is how far south does the front get? If the front gets far enough south, we may be able to drop the rain chances a little bit lower, but there's still at least a chance for a few scattered downpours. Again, will be about 30% opportunities heading into late next week. Again, next Friday, 92 with a chance for a shower or thunderstorm still in play for the 4th of July. And I think as we head towards the next couple of days, yeah, we'll have the highs in the low and mid 90s, but look at the overnight lows. There's a dip in the temperatures here. That means that finally we get this batch of moisture that's been sitting on top of us for probably the last two and a half weeks or so to finally start to scour out just a little bit, just enough to at least bring down the humidity levels a couple of extra notches. With that being said, that will help us out on the opportunities for showers and storms. The coverage may go down a little bit. And there's some indications that by the time we head towards the end of next weekend and the following week, that we could be having another ridge of high pressure building once again across the southern United States, but we may not be directly underneath the ridge. We might be on the edge of the ridge, and that may put us in the ring of fire, and that may bring us into a better chance for some rain and storms. Still hot if you're not seeing showers and storms, but maybe a better chance for rain and storms comparatively to what we've seen as of late.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Well, our next guest is someone that's had great success in the music industry. She is an American folk singer, songwriter. She is someone who is very accomplished. In fact, her songs have been covered by various people you are very familiar with. Tim McGraw, Blake Shelton, Jimmy Buffett, just to name a few there. She's also a Grammy-nominated musician here for her 2018 album, Rifles and Rosary Beads, co-written by U.S. veterans and their families. I'm happy to be joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Mary Gauthier joining us. And I understand, Mary, you're going to be coming to Memphis later this month. Good morning.
Yes, hi, good morning. Yes, indeed. I'm looking at the June 28th date as an opportunity to be back in Memphis, and thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, no, it's good to meet you and get to know you a little bit about you and your accomplishments. You know, being a folk singer and a songwriter, you have to have inspiration, I would think, and at least to be a successful one. You certainly are that. Where does that inspiration come from, Mary?
Oh gosh, I wish I could answer that. I think artists pull from life, and what we do in folk music is try to create stories that make people have an emotional response because they relate to it. In another day and time, I would have been considered a country songwriter in the 70s, but today I'm more aligned with the folk category of music genre. But I'm a story-based songwriter, and the famous successful artists that record my songs resonate with the stories that I tell in my songs.
That's fantastic. Tell me about the biggest joys about going to various venues across the country and performing. What are some of the joys, and what are some of the things that you still hope to accomplish? Because you've already accomplished a lot.
Yeah, I play all over the world. We are citizens of the world at this point. We travel 150, 160 shows a year. We travel constantly. I got home at 2 a.m. last night. I meet people everywhere, and that's super interesting to have connections with people in cities all over the world, and to see them when I get to town and share a meal or sit in the green room or meet new folks at the merchandise table at the end of the show. That's a joyful thing to get connected with people in different cities all over the place. And, as far as what my goals are at this point, I just want to keep writing songs that people care about, songs that people say matter to them.
For songs covered by well-known acts out there, I mean, Tim McGraw, Blake Shelton, Jimmy Buffett, just to name a few. There was a number of other people on that list, but certainly our audience will know them. Why do you think your songs resonate with such a large audience, especially those that are, artists out there that are so accomplished?
Well, I think it's because they emotionally connect with an audience. I think people can get inside the song and see themselves, and they relate to it. And, the artists at that level that are playing huge arenas, selling millions and millions of records, hundreds of millions of streams on the platforms, they want to connect with their audience, and they're always looking for songs that go into people's hearts and stay there. And I think that's my strength, that's the kind of writer that I am. I'm not a hit songwriter. I'm a songwriter that writes songs that tells the human story, the story of what it is to be alive today, and what it feels like, and the struggles and the victories and the experience of love and losing love. And I'm strong in the story department, and I keep saying that because that's really what I do. I'm a storyteller through song.
There's so much music and music history here in Memphis. Have you been here before? What's it like playing here?
Many, many times. I've played Memphis probably 8 or 9 times at this point. I've hit all the music sites multiple times. Memphis is a city rich in music history and rich in history, and it's just a incredible place to do what I do and to bring it to the people at the ground level. That's where I work.
So you have a concert coming up later this month, June 28th, at the Memphis Alano Club. Tell me who inspires you when it comes to music and when it comes to being a singer-songwriter, and what can concert goers or fans expect when you perform later this month?
I get my inspiration from so many different sources, books and films and other songwriters, having conversations with people. What I am is a troubadour, and a troubadour is a simple thing. We go town to town to town and tell stories and connect with people. It's not a big, huge arena type show. It's kind of the opposite. It's sitting around in a room where people are quiet and listening to the song stories. It's a bottle of water, a spotlight, and a bar stool, a guitar, and a person who has stories to tell. That's what I do, and that's what I will do in Memphis at the Alano Club.
It sounds like a very intimate setting, certainly,
Yes.
with your concerts. Anything else you'd like to share with our audience? We have thousands of people who watch us each and every morning here on the Digital Desk, Mary.
Yes. Well, storytelling is still alive. It's a beautiful and connective art form. I hope some of the listeners would come join us and experience that in person. Most people go to the big, huge shows where there's thousands and thousands of people. And what I'm doing is different than that. It's almost like I'm connecting personally with everyone that's in the room. It'll be a smaller experience in terms of size, but a bigger experience, I think, in terms of emotional impact. And so if you're into that, come on down to the Alano Club on June 28th.
Okay, Mary Gauthier joining us on the Digital Desk. Thank you, and congratulations on a successful career and what you're doing. And we appreciate you coming to Memphis, and we're looking forward to your concert June 28th at the Memphis Alano Club. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me on. Have a beautiful day. Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. There is a story on Chalkbeat, chalkbeat.org. It is a nonprofit that focuses solely on education in Tennessee and across the country. And there is a story about a chance of Tennessee students missing out on some of those summer food benefits that happen each and every year. And there are some changes, and there are some Tennessee students that are missing out on some of that. Let's talk to the reporter with Chalkbeat that was focused on this story here. I'm joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Melissa Brown, who wrote this story. Most underserved Tennessee students will miss out on its summer food benefits program. Melissa, good morning to you. Tell us a little bit about this story and why this is happening.
Good morning. Right. So around 2020, when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, the USDA expanded a program that had kind of been in the works for several years. At the time, it was called Pandemic EBT. Now it's known as Sunbucks. And this federal program provided kids who were eligible for free and reduced price lunch or were on Medicaid or other kind of benefit programs. Those kids would get $40 in grocery benefits every month in the summer. And the program was designed to help bridge the gap between school years, or when kids were out of school during the pandemic, because a lot of kids rely on school meals, and their families may have difficulty paying for groceries, and advocates realized there were food scarcity issues, and these kids really needed help getting fed. And so, though this program was being developed well before the pandemic, it really took off under the Biden administration in 2020, when there were a lot of kids out of school. And then the program kept getting extended because people realized how effective it was at filling a need for hungry kids. And so between 2020 and 2024, Tennessee participated in the program, which meant that around 650,000 to 700,000 kids in Tennessee were receiving about $120 per summer. This was directly kind of in grocery benefits. The state, under Governor Bill Lee's administration, last year decided that they would no longer participate in the program and have opted out for 2025. So this large population of Tennessee students, Tennessee kids, are no longer getting those benefits.
Now, my understanding is, Melissa, that there are some students across Tennessee, perhaps in some of those rural areas of Tennessee, that are getting some sort of food benefit program sometime this summer, but a large portion in Davidson and especially in Shelby County here in the Memphis area are not. And it's hard for me to understand exactly why this is happening. You mentioned, that this is I guess a COVID era program that's going away, but I would think there'd be other opportunities or other ways to make sure that this summer, bridging the gap program is available, or at least can be funded in some form or fashion, right?
Right. Well, it did expand extensively during kind of the thick of the pandemic. But in Washington, D.C., lawmakers decided, hey, this is an effective program from their perspective. And so they made it permanent. So even though we're not necessarily, in the thick of the COVID-19 pandemic anymore, if states opt in, they can continue this program permanently. Governor Lee's administration chose not to continue the program, and they cited two reasons for that. They first said the administrative costs. So though the majority of the costs are paid by the federal government, that the states have to pay a little bit of administrative costs. So, for example, last year, the state paid around $5 million to draw down around $75 million in federal benefits. So the state, said, we don't want to do that anymore. And then Governor Lee's office also said that the program was quote unquote duplicative, and that the state already had some programs in place that do the same thing. And that's not exactly accurate. There are some summer feeding programs that exist. You might see in-person meal pickups that local churches and community organizations participate in. But there was actually some pushback against Governor Lee's decision not to continue this program. And so the state kind of quickly developed its own program, and they're now paying $3 million to provide similar benefits in 15 rural counties that don't necessarily have those kind of meal pickup options. And so they said that, they would provide those benefits, continue to provide those benefits for kids in those counties. But when you think about it, the state is now paying $3 million to run this much smaller program, which is serving around 25,000 kids in those 15 counties, when before it was paying $5 million to serve anywhere from 650,000 to 700,000 kids. So right now, the state is actually spending more per child while leaving a lot of children out of the program.
Yeah, it's disappointing to see that, and certainly, it feels like that Memphis and Shelby County kids here in our area are left out of this program. What are some of these areas doing? I know the Mid-South Food Bank is certainly busy here. I mean, they service 31 counties across 3 states. But are there any other organizations reaching out to kind of fill this gap?
Yeah, I think you see a lot. Memphis Shelby County Schools had sort of a summer nutrition page, and they said there was around 100 organizations that had sort of banded together to help provide snacks and meals, which is clearly filling like a much needed space in Memphis and Shelby County. Some advocates say this is just a little more inefficient than providing direct grocery benefits. Some of the feeding or meal pickup spots are only open like an hour. And if you've got a single mom who's working and can't get her kids to the meal spot, or maybe people have transportation issues, it's a little more difficult than kind of getting those direct grocery benefits. But there are definitely community organizations who are working hard this summer to try to fill this need. I know a lot of YMCAs across Tennessee are doing sort of like 7-day meal food pickup packs, so you can kind of do it once a week, and that's a little better than having to go every day. We actually built at Chalkbeat, Tennessee, a tool for families in Memphis and Shelby County that has a map of all feeding locations. It includes opening times, closing times, which days they're running, which days they're off. So if families are looking for the best spot to find a lunch or a snack near them, they can go to Chalkbeat, Tennessee and find that map.
Fantastic. So, Melissa, you beat me to it. I wanted to let our audience know how to access your specific article and that map that you were just mentioning.
Yeah, definitely. You can go to chalkbeat.org/Tennessee and find the stories there. Or you can find them on Chalkbeat Tennessee's social media. And yeah, we just built that map. We want it to be a resource for the community, for people who might be looking for the best spot to pick up breakfast or lunch this summer until schools start back.
Okay, Melissa Brown, Chalkbeat reporter based in Nashville. We appreciate your time on the Digital Desk. Thank you for explaining the issue, the situation, and a map to really kind of help some people out there. We appreciate your time. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We always love celebrating Memphians that are doing amazing things everywhere and on the national stage, on a regional stage, international stage, what have you. And joining me on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, I am joined by Dr. Martin McCain. He is a faculty member from the Rudy E. Scheidt School of Music at the University of Memphis. Go Tigers go, by the way. And he is a trombonist on the Disney soundtrack for the Lilo and Stitch remake that's out in theaters right now. Martin, great to meet you. So first off, tell me a little bit about yourself. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. So I'm a musician. As you said, I teach at the University of Memphis. I grew up in Memphis in Whitehaven. And outside of teaching college students, I'm a member of the Count Basie Orchestra. If you go to the musicals at the Orpheum, the trombonist of the Orpheum Theater. And so I get to perform in a lot of different genres and get to teach wonderful next generation of musicians.
So tell me about getting this opportunity. How does it come about where, you have this remake? It's a big movie. I think it was a big TV show back in the day. It is now in theaters, and you're a trombonist. You're on the soundtrack. How does that all happen?
Well, it's a funny thing. Like when you're a recording artist and you're a studio musician, sometimes you show up to the recording studio and you have no idea who you're recording for. And that was the same situation here with Royal Studio. We were told that Bruno Mars was going to have a part of this project, but we had no idea it was for a Disney film. And so we went into the studio, we recorded Burning Love, and really did not know what it was going to come of. And then I didn't find out until a month later when I received the check. I just did a little bit of research and I saw that this was going to be a part of the new Disney movie. So that's an interesting story how I found out.
That's fantastic, and I'm sure it was nice to see the check and everything associated with that. So so tell me, if people go and see this movie in the theaters, are they going to be able to know which song? And you're a trombonist, so how are they going to be able to pick you out, or at least the song that you're a part of? How about that?
Yeah, so one great thing that this movie is doing, from even the original that came out in 2002, there's a lot of Elvis music in this movie, which is, very iconic with Memphis. But the one track that we recorded at Royal Studio is Burning Love, which is towards the end of the movie. And so, yeah, this is a really nice one because actually Bruno Mars' nephews are singing this, and then we are the horn section in the background.
Fantastic. That is awesome. So, so tell me about people's reaction, family members, friends, to you being on this soundtrack and Burning Love, as you mentioned. I mean, Elvis Presley, here we go.
Absolutely. Well, especially in my family, a lot of my family members are huge Disney fans, and my sister goes to Disney World at least 3 times a year. So everybody was extremely excited. I've been on a few different soundtracks before, but never Disney. So that's definitely a special thing for me.
I would think so. I would think so. So tell me what you do at the University of Memphis. Are you a professor? What do you teach?
Yeah, so I'm the trombone professor. So I teach students from freshmen all the way to doctoral students and students who want to be performers or future band directors, educators. And so it's fantastic. I get to work with around 20 trombone students each week. And yeah, we have a really beautiful thing going on at the Scheidt School of Music, especially in our brand new Performing Arts Center.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, a great situation all around. Anything else you want to share with our audience? We have thousands of people that watch each and every morning here on the Digital Desk. And not only are they love to celebrate University of Memphis, Memphis Tigers, and a Memphian doing extraordinary things on an international level. Anything else we can talk about, Martin?
Well, I would just say, please go see the movie. I just read last night that the movie is still #1 on the charts, and it's been out for 2 weeks now. So that's amazing with all the great movies that usually come out during the summer season. So if you haven't seen it yet, definitely check out the movie.
Yeah, and this is a remake of the kids program back in the late 90s, is it?
The first Lilo and Stitch came out in 2002, and then there was a sequel, and then it became a TV series as well.
Gotcha. Okay, all right. Appreciate you setting me that straight. Well, listen, Dr. Martin McCain joining us on the Digital Desk on the soundtrack for the Disney movie Lilo and Stitch, the remake, Burning Love. At the very end, there you will hear him and his trombonist, and his trombone, rather. Fantastic stuff. Congratulations once again, and thanks for all the hard work you do at the University of Memphis to inspire other students to do the same. We appreciate your time.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers, go. Absolutely. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. It's already pool season, and before you know it, school's going to be out, and the family's going to be either hanging out at the pool or going to the lake or going to the beach, and you want to make sure you have water safety top of mind, just to make sure everything is A-OK throughout the spring and summer months. I'm joined right now by aquatics leader at Lifetime Fitness in Collierville, Lindsay Carter, joining me on the Digital Desk to talk about maybe some friendly reminders, some tips and tricks to keep everybody safe around the water this season. Lindsay, good morning to you. Tell us maybe some tips, some just friendly reminders out there, first off, of what people can do to make sure everybody is safe. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I think that the most important thing is making sure that you always have visual contact on your non-swimmer, and making sure that you are wearing Coast Guard approved life vest. Coast Guard approved life vest are, those are the life vests that you don't blow air into. And so, the simple safety around the pool, right? Which would include not running around the pool. You run around the pool, you could slip, fall, and an emergency could happen. So I think just putting that phone down, keeping eye contact. If your child or an adult is a non-swimmer, having someone that is a swimmer within 10 feet of them.
Okay, Lindsay, let me ask you this. When do you recommend people, maybe with younger families, when do you recommend swim lessons? Do you recommend that early on or a little bit later? What do you think?
Yeah, I think the earlier the child goes through swim lessons, the more confident and succeeding in swim that they can be. We start at Lifetime, we start swim lessons at 3 months, but we also go all the way up to adult age. I don't think that you're too young to do swim lessons, and I do not believe that you're too old for swim lessons. Even if that consists of just learning your life-saving skills in the water, I don't think that there is a age that we should put on swim lessons. So we start at 3 months old, and then we do go all the way up to adult age. The earlier the better, obviously, but there's no age for swim lessons.
Okay, so we're looking at some video here of kids, hanging out in the pool. Before you know it, the school's going to be out. There's going to be a lot of days like this across Memphis and the Mid-South. So what other tips should we recommend for the folks out there just to make sure everybody is safe this year?
Right, absolutely. We do make sure that all the children pass a 25-10 test. What our 25-10 rule is, if the child cannot swim 25 meters, then an adult swimmer needs to be 10 feet. I think that can go for the community families as well. We also making sure that you're taking breaks. We recommend no longer than 2 hours. So every 2 hours, you can take breaks before that 2 hour mark, but we do at least 2 hours. Those breaks need to consist of reapplying sunscreen, hydrating, resting, maybe a light snack, and just getting out of the water so the child can regroup or the adult can regroup from the fun.
Okay, good. And tell me about how many people should be, I guess, lifeguarding or watching the pool during these times when, kids are playing?
Right. So we do have ratios for our summer camp that we offer at Lifetime. We do a 1-to-3 ratio for non-swimmers and a 1-to-6 ratio for swimmers. For lifeguards, it's 2 lifeguards per 25 kids for our outdoor pool. We typically have 7 to 8 lifeguards on duty watching during the summertime. Indoor pool, it is a little bit different. It's 1 guard per 25, but when we do open our outdoor pool, we do have 2 guards per 25 kids. So roughly about 7 to 8 guards on duty during our pool season.
Where do parents often make mistakes from your perspective? Where do people kind of get in trouble?
Technology, phones, getting out of the water when your child is still in the water, taking your eyes off the water. I think a lot of times the parents like, yeah, my child can do that. And your child may be able to do that. I think that when there are a ton of children in the pool and everyone's having fun, sometimes the child may look at another child and start doing what they're doing, maybe not knowing that that requires a different skill, that child's a different age. I think that and I'm a mom as well of 3. And so as a parent, your priority needs to always be to be watching your child and try to stay off the phone, try to stay in the water, and then realize that they may need swim lessons, right? Every child needs a refresher when it comes to swim because most of the time they take that winter season off. They're not in the pool as much. So just acknowledging that, let's get a refresher. Let me make sure that all the skills are still there. And then realizing that sometimes those skills can fall back to make sure that we're not taking our minds and thoughts off of like, okay, well, maybe they do need more help or so I think it's just really paying attention to those signs and cues. And then obviously that phone on the pool, you know, wanting to scroll through social media and we take our eyes off the pool but where our child is, I think is a huge thing that parents come across.
Put the phone down. Yes, Lindsay Carter. All right. We appreciate those tips for a safe, happy, and healthy swim season all season long. Lindsay, thank you for joining us on the Digital Desk. We appreciate the knowledge. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Heart disease still remains the #1 killer of both adult men and women in the U.S., but few realize the critical role that genetics play when it comes to our heart health. Let's talk more about this discussion with someone and a couple of people who actually know a lot about this next topic. We're talking about the critical role of genetics, specifically high lipoprotein a. I'm joined now on the Digital Desk by cardiologist Dr. Keith Ferdinand and Susan Riley, a Family Heart Foundation ambassador who has firsthand experience with this condition. Good morning to you both. And Susan, I'd like to begin with you. Tell me about lipoprotein a and the high levels and how that affected you and your health. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, high LP(a) impacts my family in many ways. So as a spouse, my husband had his first cardiac event in his early 40s. We didn't understand about it. We didn't know why it was happening. It was aggressive and we wanted it to stop. And then as a mom, I lost my 23-year-old daughter, Catherine, to a heart attack. And dealing with the fact I couldn't help her, I just didn't know. And then after Catherine passed, I was tested and found out that I have high LP(a) as well. And so there's a whole host of emotions that go along with that diagnosis and learning to navigate through the system. So we deal with it every day in almost every way.
Oh my gosh, that is awful. And I know a little bit about it because some of my family members have high lipoprotein a. Dr. Ferdinand, can you talk about what levels are considered dangerous with high lipoprotein a and who should be screened for this?
Well, first of all, everyone should be screened. It's actually quite common. High LP(a) is found in about 1 out of 5 or 20% of the population. Now, it depends on how the lab reports, but usually it's 125 if nanomoles and 50 if milligrams. That's a little detailed. But if you have a family history of having a heart attack, stroke that's premature, 40s, 50s, or even in the early 60s, then you may have high LP(a), which increases your risk for heart attacks and strokes. So the short answer is everyone should be checked.
Okay, and what's considered high, doctor? Like if you were to get a test, what's the elevated risk?
Well, as I mentioned, there are 2 ways it can be measured. In nanomoles, it's 125. In milligrams, it's 50. So you really need to have your clinician, your physician or nurse practitioner, help you to interpret the results of the test. You can get a test for free from the Family Heart Foundation to cholesterolconnect.org. And when you get that information, you should share it with your clinician.
Okay, and Susan, tell me about what you're doing about, overall health, and what would you like to say to others who perhaps, do a blood test, they realize that they also have high lipoprotein a?
Yeah. So the first thing you should do is find a community who understands the disease and the impacts to your life. I found that through Family Heart Foundation, where I learned that there were things that I could do today to reduce my risk. I learned to advocate for myself and for others. They taught me how to ask the right questions and find the right doctors.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Thursday, which will feature a mixture of clouds and sunshine. A slightly better chance of an afternoon cooling shower or thunderstorm. Many of you, though, will likely stay dry yet again. A mixture of clouds and sunshine will still be able to push our temperatures up into the mid-90s. But when you factor in the humidity levels, feels like temperatures, closer to about 105 here as we go through the course of the afternoon. And that'll be a common trait in the forecast, likely the next couple of days. Decaying showers and thunderstorms across northeastern Mississippi, northwest Alabama, and middle Tennessee. Tennessee will still be able to shoot off an outflow boundary. That outflow boundary may be able to kick off a few more scattered downpours near into the south of the I-40 corridor as we head towards the afternoon and early evening hours. But we're right on the edge of this ridge of high pressure that is continuing to work its way farther off to the east. So it may open us up later on this evening for decaying storms to make their way in our direction. So a few of us could see a slightly better chance for a shower or thunderstorm. I think the best chances for rain and storms here today, generally south and east of the city of Memphis, but still a chance nonetheless. I think even here in the city, there could still be a couple of downpours. By midnight, showers and storms for the most part fading away, but not completely gone until early tomorrow morning as we drop back into the middle 70s starting off early on Friday morning. A few spotty downpours here or there for your Friday. A mixture of clouds and sunshine yet again to the mid-90s we go. There's an approaching boundary that could kick up a scattered batch of rain and storms by early Saturday morning across portions of the Missouri Boot Hill, western areas of Kentucky and northwest Tennessee. If you're not seeing that, though, which I think more sections of the coverage area will see more scattered activity redeveloping during the course of the day on Saturday. A few isolated showers and thunderstorms by lunchtime. I think the chances for rain do start to build a little higher as we head towards the end of the day. But all the while still featuring highs in the mid-90s. Average high this time of the year is 91. So we'll get closer to that number as we head towards Sunday, Monday, and early next week. And that is by way of a change up in the pattern. Remember, we've got that ridge of high pressure basically sitting on top of us right now. Feels like temperatures still running around 105 or so between now and Saturday, and then we'll start to see the feels like temperatures coming down a couple of extra notches as the actual air temperatures come down. But we still got plenty of humidity out across the area as the ridge builds farther off to the east, moving into the Atlantic, and we start to see a couple of small disturbances on the backside of that ridge. We start to see some better chances for some rain and storms coming in our direction. Out in the tropics, no development expected here in the next 7 days or so after we had Andrea, which formed briefly in the north central Atlantic, fading away. And again, this remnant circulation with that now pushing past the Azores in the central Atlantic. So for the next couple of days back here at home, will we see any downpours that will be tropical-esque? Well, obviously the humidity levels are pretty stout at this point. So any downpours that we do get could be quite torrential as they roll through here. But notice again, Saturday, a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity tending to be along and north of I-40, fading away, and then a few more scattered activity, showers and storms during the afternoon and evening hours. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, as well as the frontal boundary starts to sag a little farther down to the south. Hopefully, once that front moves farther down to the south, it will keep our chances for rain a little bit more tempered. They'll take us into Friday evening. Of course, what's Friday? That's 4th of July, next Friday. And if this is to be believed, there's a chance for a few showers and storms. The question mark is where exactly will those showers and thunderstorms be able to erupt. All the while, temperatures will be running closer to average for this time of the year. So here's a look at our extended forecast, still underneath the vestiges of that ridge of high pressure. So that's going to keep our temperatures a bit higher than average in the mid-90s. 20 to 30% chance for a shower or thunderstorm as we head towards the next couple of days. I think 30 and 40% rain chances emerge as we head towards Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And yeah, maybe a slightly better chance overnight Monday and Tuesday as a front starts to move into our area. And the question mark about Wednesday is how far south does the front get? If the front gets far enough south, we may be able to drop the rain chances a little bit lower, but there's still at least a chance for a few scattered downpours. Again, will be about 30% opportunities heading into late next week. Again, next Friday, 92 with a chance for a shower or thunderstorm still in play for the 4th of July. And I think as we head towards the next couple of days, yeah, we'll have the highs in the low and mid-90s, but look at the overnight lows. There's a dip in the temperatures here. That means that finally we get this batch of moisture that's been sitting on top of us for probably the last two and a half weeks or so to finally start to scour out just a little bit, just enough to at least bring down the humidity levels a couple of extra notches. With that being said, that will help us out on the opportunities for showers and storms. The coverage may go down a little bit. And there's some indications that by the time we head towards the end of next weekend and the following week, that we could be having another ridge of high pressure building once again across the southern United States, but we may not be directly underneath the ridge. We might be on the edge of the ridge, and that may put us in the ring of fire, and that may bring us into a better chance for some rain and storms. Still hot if you're not seeing showers and storms, but maybe a better chance for rain and storms comparatively to what we've seen as of late.
All right, that does it for us here in the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Have yourself a wonderful afternoon. We got Action News 5 Midday coming up at the top of the hour. Jerry Askin, Ariana Poindexter, they'll take you through the headlines and, of course, your forecast. And join me once again bright and early tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. We go from 7 until 11 each and every weekday morning on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We'll see you tomorrow for a Friday edition. Take care.